Conversations with the old timers. Coronavirus? What the hell is that I'm supposed to be afraid of? Coronavirus. That's another white man's disease. These Wasijis bring everything over here. They brought VD, they brought racism, they brought all these inhumanities to our people. And we were supposed to be afraid. I'm not afraid of this. You remember your grandma? Your grandma, her name was Wound That Strikes the Ground. She was part Hassapa and Assiniboine. She was part black. No one wanted her. But the black robes, they took her in. When she was young, that's when we had our first Holocaust. See, where you kids live, that hill, that was a mass grave site. You were always going up in those hills and you were saying, you found all these white bones, and you actually brought a bone home to show your mother. And that's why she called me. You thought it was a cow bone, it was a human bone, it was a leg bone. So she asked me to take it back up to the hill and bury it and pray, so I did. But you see, your grandma was of that time. We live in this community called Wolf Point. There are two names why they call it this. There's a name we have for it, and the name the Wasijus have. The Wasijus say when the steamboats came up the Missouri, they stopped at a point, and there were all these wolf pelts and coyote pelts and badger pelts. But they don't tell you how those wolves and coyotes got there. From 1887 to 1889, Redstone, who was our chief, wouldn't sign the treaty. So they starved us out. They introduced smallpox. At one point, we had 10,000 camps, reduced to 3,000. In the winter, when they couldn't bury their bodies in the ground because the ground was too hard, they buried them in the snow. So when the spring came, the coyotes and wolves would come and feast off the bodies. And the fur traders that were in the fort would come out, and they would actually take a stick and hit the wolves and kill them. That's how easy it was. And then they took their hides and they put them out on that point, and that's how they got the name Wolf Point. What was due to our destruction. They say this coronavirus, I hear it on the news. Bill O'Reilly's an asshole. But I listen to the news. And it's really sad because they try to scare us. They are scaring us now. They say, oh, you Indians, you be careful now because your numbers are weak. This coronavirus is going to wipe you out. And President Trump has cut all our funding again. I went to Indian Health Service to try to get my diabetic medicine. And they said, no, we can't give you it because you're going to have to wait because they haven't proved any funding for our medical, something they promised to do for us. And that includes your dad, who's a vet. He's going to have a hard time now, too. So what I'm saying to you now, young one, is the way we overcome this is you live with your community. You live with your community. You live with your family. Your grandma is no longer here in this world, but I am. And I will always look out for you. Your mother will always look out for you. We all look out for each other in our community. We never live in fear. We don't know what it is, what fear is to be in Dakota, to be Assiniboine. We don't know what fear is. But when we became assimilated, that was one thing the Christians tried to teach. And